I think the next part, the what we thought was the light at the end of the tunnel, which was perhaps a bit of common sense when UEFA at the end of September said, right, okay, we're going to admit the under-17 boys and girls teams into competition again. The way the age group system works, of course, is slightly different. It's not a full 2-year qualifying campaign like it is for the senior sides because of the players move on so quickly. It wouldn't have involved Russia's men getting involved into the next edition of the FIFA World Cup, because the European Championships for age groups are the qualifiers for the next World Cup. And I think actually that was the right time to consider something like this, because it would take a little of the heat away from the under-17s team if they had entered if they didn't enter a qualifying campaign straight away. As for the girls' side, I think it's the 2024 World Cup is in the Dominican Republic next year. So this is when we thought, okay, this is a compromise, if you like. The boys and girls sides are, of course, they're not going to have hundreds of thousands of people watching them, and even the locations help. I mean, the Dominican Republic, the boys edition in Indonesia. Yes, there are a huge amount of fanatical Indonesian fans, but I wouldn't have thought there would be hundreds of thousands of European Western nations travelling to support their under-17 side in the World Cup all the way over there. Straight away, of course, we had the outrage at such a, I believe the exact wording was dangerous and terrifying decision from the Ukrainian football authorities at this, which basically their argument was that, well, this is a slippery slope towards admitting all age group teams, which they were violently against. And for the record, I fully support not readmitting Russia's senior side, at least, into UEFA for all the reasons you mentioned. I mean, just the risk of the danger, the safety of players, fans, and everything else. England, Poland, Denmark, Sweden, and Norway instantly said as well, we will not play if this decision goes ahead. We will refuse to play. We saw this with the 2022 World Cup qualifiers, when Poland, Czech Republic, and Sweden, I think it was, were due to play the 14 playoff in Russia. Russia were going to host it, and of course they all refused to do that. And before long, of course, UEFA and FIFA relented and said we couldn't find a technical solution. Now, I don't know if you noticed the timing, Alan, of this, when FIFA and UEFA came back with this technical decision. The timing was after qualifying had started. So they could use that as their reason. So they didn't have to get into the whole moral, political reasoning behind it. In a way, actually, that sounds like I'm criticising them for that. I actually think maybe that's not the worst idea in it, because they are meant to be a footballing organisation. So
yeah, exactly. And look, they have most of the things that sort of I would respect with UEFA and FIFA is that they've kept open a dialogue at all times. For example, with Crimea, there was a push back 2014 to start 2015 to put Crimean clubs into the Russian Football League system. And they basically, within Russian football, there was many people were thinking, well, they should be allowed. They should be allowed. I mean, we can work it out. Look at teams from Northern Ireland playing in the Republic of Ireland. Look at teams in Scotland playing in England, and Wales in England. And so there were a lot of cases for that to happen. But of course, Ukraine had just lost part of its territory. The people it chose, they don't want to be part of Ukraine anymore. And that was a red rag to a bull. That was going to it was already, they were already attacking their own people. There was, of course, we saw what happened in May in Odessa with people being burnt to death and so on. So basically, that was not good. But UEFA stepped in and said, look, we'll support a Crimean League. Now, for better or worse, the Crimean League exists. A lot of players again, Alexander Zotov had actually advised on working with the Ukrainian players, footballers union, and assisted with Crimea. So basically that was working. Then this year, of course, they said, no, we're going to go back in. We're going to go in to Russia. That's it. Now, what people, we did discuss this. I thought it was nobody really in the Russian Football Union backed it. People in Russian football thought this is going to bring down a lot of it's needless hassle on us. So let's try to avoid it.
Yeah.
They didn't. They went ahead because it was politically good, and also it was kind of, well, look, it's already part of Russia. We voted. They voted. Clean, done. It just again made things look worse. So when this thing came in September, Crimean clubs were already playing in the Russian system. But what people never said was that already Crimean universities and colleges were playing in Russian competitions since last year. So, and nobody batted an eyelid, mainly because a lot of Ukrainian students were traveling down on scholarships to play. But that had been going on for many years under the National Student Football League. So basically, there was a kind of a give and take. Professional football is a different thing, as pride and so on. Then, of course, we know what happened then when, as you mentioned, that like they started then like kicking up holy war, and of course the likes and people who really are into their sport, which I think is very, very funny. Let's say like how do we say? Well, media outlets who have no interest whatsoever in sports, don't cover sports, don't plan to cover sports, don't care about sports, but they got in on the act because it's like, oh, look, we told you. So basically, Voice of America here, they come in. UEFA abandons plan to allow Russian youth teams into European competitions. Again, it was insane, but they were glorying it. They were loving it. They were delighted with it. They were saying, this is great. This is very, very good. And they were happy. And even though they were, they put in that when UEFA, for one reason, was when they had given hosting rights to the 2028 European Championship to the UK and Ireland, the Voice of America said that both of which had their football federations threaten boycotts of games against Russian sides. Not true. Not true. The English FA did. Scotland and Wales, Northern Ireland, and Republic of Ireland didn't. This again is where media, like the Voice of America, which of course we know who they are and where they're from and who backs them and who writes their stories, got it so wrong, but didn't really care.